to die, to sleep, to sleep. Sing Sing comes to us from A24 and writer director Greg Quidar. This is his second feature-length project. He's done some short films in the past as well. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. This is also written by Clint Bentley and features a story by Clarence Macklin and John Divine G. Whitfield, and centers around Sing Sing Prison, where Coleman Domingo plays Divine G, who is in prison for a crime he didn't commit and has been there for quite a while, along with a lot of other prisoners. And I'm going to tell you some facts about this particular, production in just a little bit. But yes, Coleman Domingo basically is just biding his time. He has a parole hearing coming up, but he's also been getting into the theater group and really helping out, really diving in, really just becoming a great thespian and just expanding his knowledge and sharing his knowledge and helping out fellow prisoners, expressing themselves and just really trying to maybe get them ready to just get their anger out, get their issues out, just grow themselves and possibly maybe even get out into the real world where Rob Thomas is still being hassled by it. Yeah, I had to work that in. But Coleman Domingo, along with others, they're really just trying to make the best of his situation because nobody wants to be in prison, either through no fault of your own or through a series of unfortunate circus pants. You don't want to be in prison. You really goddamn don't. And this basically is more about the camaraderie among a group of prisoners. It's not so much a prison movie or, the theme of prison like Oz. I'm not talking about the great and powerful Oz. I'm talking about the show and, a few other prison movies and all that. This is an A24 production where it just centers around some particular people and really just tells their stories. We get nuggets of information about them, and we really just see them grow as far as being a theater group and through loss and through issues and through people cracking, because obviously you can only make the best of a bad situation for so long before things really start to fracture. And the performances, I do have to say, in this movie are fucking phenomenal. I'm not even going to mix words here. Coleman Domingo is a fucking revelation. He's been good in other stuff, but he's really fucking incredible in this. And the reason, by the way, that this review is up a bit before the wide release for this film is because this was the Regal Mystery movie, and I was lucky enough to catch an early screening of it. So you have Coleman Domingo, Clarence Macklin's also in this, and he delivers a great performance. In fact, it's really about their 1-2 punch. But a fun fact about this particular movie, if you read it up on IMDb, is most of the cast is made up of the former incarcerated members of the actual real-life theater group, and the stuff that this is on. In fact, there are, there's footage of some audition tapes for people actually auditioning to be in the movie. So not only does it feel really authentic, it is fucking authentic. Like, it doesn't just feel, it is. And you can just feel the life permeating from every single scene. And the cast members are great. And the fact that they, formerly incarcerated, have made the most of their second chance and are willing to dive back into something like this and use their life experiences to tell their story and tell it in a comedic way, a moving way, but also a way that really does hurt. It does show the humanity of a lot of people that are in prison and how a lot of this really does shine a light on how there are some people that are in prison for things that they didn't actually do, and that's something that really needs to fucking change, and that's always been fucking bullshit. It's been going back decades, centuries, all that stuff. But basically what this whole thing centers around is, obviously, you have Divine G, who is very, well-spoken and, very verbose, very, smart. And you have Clarence Macklin, who really does play a great role here as somebody that feels that he's only going to ever be seen as the gangster type. He doesn't have a life. You find out that various, amounts of prisoners have kids. They have family members. They have something they want to get back to by any means necessary, mainly by just, having good behavior and all that. And it's just really great how they tell this story. And yeah, some people might find this kind of slow moving. I think like 20 people left the screening that I was at, and it wasn't a full theater. So yeah, we had a lot more room we had a lot more leg room by the time, it was about halfway through, which I'm like, I get it. This probably isn't a movie you need to necessarily see in theaters, so I encourage you guys to support filmmakers like this, but I can understand if people wait for this to be on streaming, but you guys really should absolutely check this out. But yeah, the people leaving the theater, Oh, what do you want? Do you want just a bunch of action? What the hell do you want? Or what do you expect from, an R-rated mystery movie? That being said, I was thinking it was going to be something like Oddity that I'll be seeing a little bit later on, or something like The Fabulous Four, that's a comedy with Susan Sarandon. And yeah, when it comes to like mystery, you don't know, because that's the whole point of a mystery. That being said, what's great about this movie is just the story that it tells, and yes, it just lets it flow. It lets the performances flow. We see the frustration on Coleman Domingo's face, and just everything about him. He's trying to help other people, but he really wants to get out. We find out why he wants to get out. And it's just a beautifully performed movie. It's really, really great. And the theater scenes are actually pretty goddamn good, too. When it wants to hit emotionally, though, it really does. So I do encourage you guys to check this out in theaters if you possibly can, if it's playing near you, or at least catch it on streaming. Support independent filmmakers, people making, films just, with a pretty talented cast. And really, it is a revelation to know that they're, formerly incarcerated, members of this group that just were really, really, really good. Really good. Like natural actors. Didn't feel like they were playing characters. They were these. So I would like to see more of the people featured in this cast. Too many to mention. Sean San Jose, the character of Mike, really, really good, by the way. Mosey Eagle. Sean Dino Johnson really had some great scenes talking about how he was when he first got to prison. And then, how he had to kind of, ease back a little bit. Clarence Macklin, though, really does deserve a Best Supporting Actor nomination for this. I'm serious. He's really fucking good in this. And Coleman Domingo deserves a Best Actor nomination for this. So I'm going to be interested to see what they do for the Oscars. Even though we're well far away from that, this is only like early or like mid-July. So nevertheless, it is really, really good. A24 knocks it out of the park again. Really, really great shit. I'm going to get into some spoilers. It won't take very long. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, murder conviction and other stuff that basically led to Divine G being there. And actually turns out he didn't do it. There was somebody that confessed to the crime, but that person is since deceased, and it's hard to corroborate that particular audio tape and everything because you can't talk to that person. Clarence also talks about the fact that his kid is in prison as well. He doesn't feel there's a life for him outside of the prison. The character of Mike has a really, really good scene about halfway through, maybe just a little over halfway through, where he's talking about, the people that he used to run with and everything. And the theater production goes really, really well. Paul Rossi, R-A-C-I, Racy, I'm not actually sure how to say it. He's kind of the theater director. He's really good. But the character of Mike, he has this great thing where he's talking through the wall to Divine G, and then he has a brain aneurysm. And the thing is you just see the pain on all the prisoners' faces, like knowing, like, I can understand getting stabbed, I can understand all this or whatever, like, but that came out of nowhere. And you can see the pain on their face, and that's really, really good stuff. And Coleman Domingo does have a really good scene where he's having a parole hearing, and he talks about the acting and everything and all that, and one of the interviews even says, so I have a question. Are you acting now in this interview? And that's a fair question to ask, by the way, whether somebody has been wrongfully convicted or not, they're in prison. It's a fair question to ask. It's also kind of dickish, but it makes sense. Now, that being said, you see the pain on his face. He talks to Clarence Macklin and says, by the way, if you get thing really thick, that means you're fucked. You get something really thin, then that means you're going to be going home. Doesn't work for Coleman. Works for Clarence. He helped Clarence through so much stuff. There's scenes after scenes after scenes of Clarence just having his walls broken down. Really, really good stuff. He took the role as Hamlet and wanted to do kind of a comedy spin on it. Kind of like Ghostlight. Actually, this did have some reminding of Ghostlight. Ghostlight was a little more low-key. Well, both were low-key, but this is a little bit better, but Ghostlight's still really good, by the way. If you get a chance, check that out. But there's both involved theater groups, and turning the production of something in particular maybe a little bit comedic. But they have a bit of a comedic version of Hamlet where they include gladiators and Egyptians and all that stuff and make a fun thing about it, or even Freddy Krueger at one point. It's really fun. But Coleman Domingo, after getting his parole denied, kind of snaps and leaves the group for a bit. Because he's happy for Clarence. Don't get me wrong. He's not upset at Clarence. He's upset that he didn't commit this crime and he can't go home. Can't go home. He had a conversation with his mother. He just wanted it to be over with. He's got to stay there longer and get another parole thing. And he even talked to Clarence. It's like, if it doesn't work, you do it again. That's what he had to do. But Clarence does end up going home. And we get some more tapes and some more stuff. And every 6 months they do productions like this. So they're doing more productions. And these productions take a bit. So, I mean, like, it's not like you knock this thing out in 2 weeks. It probably takes like a month or two. But, every 6 months you do, these productions. And we see audio, we see video, we see stuff that people, doing the plays, all that stuff. And if it's every 6 months, that means it's another couple years possibly. So Coleman Domingo's in Sing Sing longer. And there are some really other good scenes here with the various, actors, former prisoners that talk about, their story. There's one former prisoner that comes and talks about life on the outside. He's grateful to be able to work. He had a dog. Unfortunately, he had to put the dog down. So, sometimes they think it's, cotton candy and all peaches and cream and stuff like that. But it is still tough on the outside. Grateful to be on the outside, but it's still tough. And then Coleman Domingo does get released from Sing Sing. Great closing, sequence of him leaving and just breathing the air when he gets out of the gates. And he's walking along the path. And he's greeted by... I don't know why this got me. He's greeted by Clarence Macklin. Big hug. He's like, hey, check out my van. Check out this stuff and everything. Oh, you ready to go? Big hug. And then that's it. And then we see more videos of various people, the auditions and stuff like that and everything. We see all this stuff. So, really good stuff. A+, Sing Sing's fucking phenomenal. Well worth checking out. A24 does it again. Coleman Domingo, Clarence Macklin. Can't praise him enough. Really good shit. So anyway... A+, again. Agree, disagree, what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.